Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm going to be talking about The Boys Season 4 Episode 6 today. It released last Thursday, so we're right about there when it comes to Episode 7 coming out, so I'm happy to get this out now instead of later. I was gone all weekend, so I just didn't have the chance to upload sooner, even though I wanted to, but it's all good now. And just to jump right into it, my initial reaction to this episode is that this may be my least favorite episode so far. And that is because it really feels like a filler episode where we're kind of just meandering, waiting, to get to the final two episodes, kind of the end game of the season. And actually, in the lead up to this episode, it was announced that the boys will be finishing with season 5. So the showrunner has confirmed that we are only getting 5 seasons, which I'm completely fine with. I'm happy that they have a plan. And this episode specifically is sort of like the rising action of the season. We're approaching the final 2 episodes, and I thought it just moved really slowly in terms of the story. There were some fun reveals. One of my theories was confirmed, and that is the theory that Billy Butcher and Jeffrey Dean Morgan are basically the same character. So I predicted that it was a Tyler Durden sort of situation from Fight Club, and I was absolutely right. That's exactly what it was. And so that was really not surprising. I predicted it a few episodes ago, and I enjoyed that reveal for the most part. I thought it was really well acted. I thought the writing was really good. The reveal was great. We had a lot of flashbacks throughout the season where Butcher was talking to nobody, and somebody was watching him just sort of, talking alone and all this stuff. And I thought that was good overall, but I feel like that, I don't know, I guess it was just too orchestrated for me that the reveal was coming, because Butcher has just sort of been laying around for a lot of this season, just slowly having this brain tumor or whatever's going on, this leech, this worm, whatever's in his brain. It's been slowly sort of getting him worse and worse condition. And overall, I just don't really care that much about the Jeffrey Dean Morgan storyline. I love the actor. I think he's great, but I just don't think the character has really added much to the season. And that was sort of my issue with season 3, was that there was a lot of elements where I felt like it didn't really add to the show. And in terms of its strengths and all that, there was a lot more weaknesses. And also, the thing that I really disliked the most, I know it was supposed to be funny, but everything with Spider Weaver, I did not like. I'm making sure that's his name, Spider Weaver, yeah. And or Web Weaver, I believe his name is. He's basically the Spider-Man of this series. And Huey is infiltrating this basically wealthy donor party where all these far-right leaders and business leaders and capitalists and just general bad guys, they all come in and they're having drinks, they're giving their plans of what they want to do going forward. And Homelander is giving his sort of pitch, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's, really great words, but how are you going to actually realistically do this? What are you going to do about the Justice Department? What are you going to do about this and that? And, I love those parts of the storyline of this episode, but everything with Huey and Web Weaver or Spider Weaver, I don't even remember his name that well, and also Tech Knight, I did not like. I feel like there wasn't enough build up for Tech Knight, and by the time he shows up, you're kind of like, oh, okay, there he is. And I did not especially like the treatment of Huey, because he is effectively raped in this episode. I know he's trying to infiltrate and sort of discover more secrets and plant bugs around the mansion. That way, he and Starlight and MM and the rest of the gang, they can get some dirt on everybody. But I really did not like that aspect. I thought it was way overplayed. I didn't find it funny, really, at all. I did not like seeing our character Huey in that position, literally, also. It was just... It's not something I like to really joke about in terms of content or, yeah, just content in general. I don't think it added that much to the story. There's this whole thing around the safe word and Huey doesn't know what the safe word is that Spider Weaver uses, and it ends up being Zendaya is the safe word, and I thought that was so on the nose, but at the same time, there's a lot of things on the show that is like that, so I can't complain too much. But at the same time, none of it was that satisfying overall. I didn't think the Zendaya stuff was that funny. I felt like other people who watched the show, they may have found it funnier than I did. I did not really care for that because I thought that was such a really lazy joke because everybody really likes their relationship. Tom Holland and Zendaya, they have a really wholesome relationship. They have great on-screen presence. There's no controversies so far as of the filming of this. There's no controversies between them. They just seem like really great people. And they're just, they're living life. And to have that kind of be such a major focus of this episode was just a little weird for me. I didn't really care for it. I really liked... so to get to the secret sex dungeon that Huey was being raped in, he has to pull on a particular book. Tech Knight pulls on a book. We don't know what book it is. It's not really that important. But at the end of the episode, we get a reveal of what the book was. And it's the original 120 Days of Sodom, which is by Marquis de Sade. I think that's how you say his last name, Desai, maybe. That's a work that, if you're not familiar with, may have kind of slipped under the radar, but it's basically just the most controversial novel ever written because it deals with every sort of bad thing that happens in human history. And the author, Marquis de Sade, he was a really fucked up guy mentally. He did not have everything together. When he wrote the novel, he was in a prison cell during the French Revolution, I believe, in like the 1600s. And he was jailed. And he wrote the entirety of it. And he also wrote a sequel, which is now lost, actually, because I believe the gods found it and they thought it was so depraved that they destroyed it. Which I'm happy they did. Although I'm not for destroying art, but there's something, there's a line, I believe. And 120 Days of Sodom is also a movie adaptation, which is actually one of my favorite movies, directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini. And I think it's a very cinematically beautiful movie. It really confronts sort of the bad nature of humans and sort of what we do to other people. And it's framed within 1940s Italy, so fascist Italy. The director was very anti-fascist, so I really liked the inclusion of the book within the episode because it's a nice window dressing to the show, adding to the themes of anti-fascism and fascism in general. So I really enjoyed that little detail when they revealed what the book was, that you had a pool and the secret door would show. I will say my favorite moment is the scene when they shoot Sister Sage in the head, and we also get MM, who shoots Sister Sage in the head. He gets a panic attack and he just falls to the ground. And A-Train comes in and is like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Everything went, sideways. We need to get MM out. So he grabs MM and he runs him to the hospital with his super speed. And he sees a kid looking at him. And his mom is passed out, on the bench or the gurney, I believe. And the kid just kind of looks at him, and A-Train has this moment where he's like, oh man, like, how's this kid going to react to me? And the kid ends up, giving a big smile because A-Train puts MM on the gurney and he, rescues him. He did something good, and he actually did something good for real, because what the show does a lot is establishes the fact that most saves that they do throughout the series is all actually just marketing for all of these superheroes. We never actually see these superheroes do really good things because it's good. We see Starlight do that a lot, but not many others. So when we see A-Train do this, I was really happy, because I was like, fuck yeah, like, A-Train is really turning around. But this is now feeding into a fear of mine, because I maintain that there should be some major deaths at the end of the season, and I think A-Train would be one. And I think that would be very hard, because comparing him from Season 1 to Season 4, he is so different now. He's consistently making good decisions with Starlight, Huey, and everyone else of that squad. And he's really helping the good guys now, because he's just completely done with Vought. He is the leak within the organization. I feel like Sister Sage knows that he is the leak, but that she's protecting him, because she has a really great moment when she's talking with, oh my gosh, the really awful superhero. I forgot her name. I feel so awful. I'm looking at my notes here, seeing if I wrote it down. I did not. Perfect. God, what's her name? Firecracker. Yeah, Sister Sage and Firecracker have a really great dialogue, because Firecracker walks up to Sister Sage and is like, yeah, I don't know how much else I can deal with these people. They're talking about, how the human body has a way to shut down abortions, which we know is false. But this is a thing that happens in our real world, where people have this belief that that's a thing. I assume it's all a farce on their end, and that they're just saying shit because they don't care. But Sister Sage and Firecracker are talking about this and talking about how awful the party is. And Sister Sage just has this really great moment of acting where she's just, or also she has this great speech where she's, really greatly acting, the speech out, where she's just so angry about all of this, but she knows that she's just kind of in it now. There's no escaping this, and she's like, me and you, we're women. We have to stick together, and we have to bide our time. We have to take our time, and one day we will rise up on top. And I thought that was a really great scene. It really humanized Sister Sage, because I was getting a little tired of Sister Sage because she wasn't doing much. She was just kind of hanging around with Homelander, just, following his orders, advising him, straightening him out whenever he would go on some crazy sort of tangent. And so I'm really curious how the Sister Sage story would go from here on out. I thought all of that was great. There's a lot of great little moments throughout this episode, but I'm sort of wondering now, will she be killed off at the end of the season? I hope not, but at the same time, I would not be surprised. But I'm trying to think anything else. Yeah, there's really not much else to talk about with this episode. We do get a really great moment in the beginning of the episode where Huey and his mother are walking together, and they're just having a good conversation. Just, a great mother and son conversation where they're just laughing and talking about, Huey and like what he's been up to and who his friends are. And she's like, "Who the fuck are your friends?" And so that's a really funny moment. But aside from that, I really did not care for this episode at all. I don't dislike it, but I think it's the weakest episode by far. But I think that's about all I have to say. There's really not much. We have 2 more episodes. The 7th episode comes out in 2 days, so I will try to get a review in that weekend, if not Friday, if I can swing it. So thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.